Well, hello, friends. Welcome to the COGO Podcast. My name is R.W. Moody. I'm the Associate State Pastor here at COGO Ministries, and you are watching and or listening to the COGO Podcast. So don't forget, the purpose of this podcast is to move leaders in the state of Ohio through bite-sized conversations about ministry, leadership, and growth. And so we invite you, just in these few moments together today, to step into your God call, to listen to the topic that we're talking about today, and really to ask the Spirit how you can take what we talk about today and really kind of flush it through in your own setting. That's super important for you to do. So with that being said, today we're going to talk about a really cool topic in the life of the church, and maybe we don't talk about too much. It's the topic of hospitality. And with us today, we have a couple of, they are some staunch warriors when it comes to hospitality and the idea of hospitality in local church. And I know that because I got to see them in action for almost 3 years together as I served at Maiden Lane. So today with us on the podcast, we have Missy Potts and Megan Oyler. Say hello, ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we're so glad that you can be here with us today. So just for the sake of people who might be listening today going, who are these people? Go ahead and tell us your name, where, we know you're from Maiden Lane, but tell us a little bit about how you came to know Jesus. So Missy, you get the pastor card first. Go.
That is awesome. Well, first of all, I just want to make note that I grew up in the church, but the reality is, and as a very young kid, Camp Marengo, we all know a lot about Camp Marengo many years ago, but grew up attending. That's actually where I first started following Jesus as a kid.
Right.
I have to be real with you and let you know that I feel like about 10 or 12 years ago, while I was a pastor, I came to this realization that there was something I was missing. And I dove in the Word like never before, really to seek God at a more personal level. And what I found as a pastor is that I spent so much time teaching and not enough time on my own discipleship and growth side of that. So in the last 10 to 12 years, I'll tell you what, I have come to love and follow Jesus like never before.
Fantastic. Missy, I'm glad you said that. And the reason I'm glad you said that is I think too many times we as pastors spend most of our time in God's Word studying for prep for sermons or lessons instead of our own good. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us.
And that's my story. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. Megan?
Yeah. My story actually has a lot of similarities to Missy's, and that I grew up going to Maiden Lane. I went to Christian Educare and Sunday school, and that's really where my kind of foundation started. And I became a Christian in Vacation Bible School, which I know is something that our church is hosting now. I remember sitting in the pews and them talking about Jesus and me choosing to make that step in that commitment, and had a chance to just grow up in our church and be involved in all the different things that were offered, including youth ministry. Missy was my youth pastor growing up. And then as I got older, getting involved in the different adult ministries that we have, including one of them being our hospitality ministry, which I know is what we're here to talk about today. So.
Friends, as Megan said, right now as we're recording, Maiden Lane is busy doing their Vacation Bible School. So Missy had to step away from everything going on to be able to jump on this. So Missy, thank you. This episode is actually going to drop, I think, in August. So probably by the time this drops, most people are going to be through their Vacation Bible School, being right in the middle. But ladies, thank you so much for carving out some time. Really do appreciate it. Megan, you talked about joining into this whole hospitality area. So just for the importance of hospitality in the life of the church, why is that so important?
Yeah, I feel like the reason why I joined the hospitality ministry and why it was so important to me is there was a point in my life where I had left to go off to school and come back to church. And I honestly really wasn't feeling as connected or welcomed as I was in the church. And I think part of it was honestly me. But I think that once I had a chance to go and become engaged with different ministries and different people, I found my faith to really grow. So as I got involved in our women's ministry or our kids ministry, that really helped me as I was serving to grow as a Christian myself. And so I find it really important now in hospitality to make sure that when people walk in the doors of our church, that they feel really welcome, that they feel like they belong in the church, because they do. And we talk about our church family. When you think about a family, like, you don't want to walk into your house or walk into your family gathering and not feel like you belong there.
Right.
And so
true.
I love having the opportunity to be a part of the team, and for people when they walk in to just tell them hello and have a really friendly face there for them. I also get the privilege of, a lot of times I'm in the sanctuary greeting, and that's where we get a chance to meet a lot of the newer folks and get to tell them about our church, as well as there's sometimes where they want to talk about like making commitments, like being baptized, or really understanding what our church believes in. And so it's a chance to really step into that space and share some of those have more deep conversations with newer folks, or those that are regular members, to just catch up with them. Sometimes they're sharing really deep or heavy things, or even fun things that are going on in their lives. And so being able to follow up with them each week and see how their lives are going is, I think, a really part of a discipleship process that we get to do week in and week out. And so I think it's just really important for people to feel like they're welcomed and they belong, and we want them to be here, and that they're a part of us. So
again, I'm so glad you brought up the position that you wander in the sanctuary, because one of the joys of being a pastor is watching people like you engage with people who don't generally like get that engagement. I mean, there's one thing for the pastors, Missy, I'm talking about, we're kind of expected to do that, but to watch somebody like you shark, it just kind of and on that person and talk, it's a blessing. Like, it is awesome to see that heart for hospitality come out in those conversations. And even, I'm going to say this, even as a parishioner at Maiden Lane, so after I was off staff, you would come and say, RW, what's going on? Yeah, all that stuff. So you do a good job at that, lady. Like, good job.
Yes, she does. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible.
It's funny though, but I honestly wouldn't necessarily consider myself that's like super outgoing or somebody that is an extrovert, but it was just really important to me that people felt welcomed. And for me, for a little while, it was a little awkward. I would, have conversations, and I was kind of maybe a little awkward, but over time you get to hear about people's lives, and then you have something to follow up with them about and something to talk with them about. And so now I have all of these, jokes or funny stories or things that I'm following up with people about that just have happened over time. And so it really now feels very organic. Whereas when I first started, to be honest, it did feel a little awkward, but I like now that I have the chance to even talk to people that maybe I wouldn't have a chance to connect with in different parts of the church, that just being a greeter, I get to meet people that I wouldn't normally interact with. So
I'm glad you shared that little bit about the apprehension at first, because I think our leaders in the state need to be aware of the fact that there are people who are just like you, but that those people can be utilized in a ministry like this just as much. Missy, I know that you are gung-ho about hospitality. I mean, I've been in your house, you're hospitable. I've been to your office, you're hospitable. Like, you are a hospitality person. It's your gift, friend. I'm just telling you.
That's great.
So what are some like simple ways that hospitality can be implemented into the Sunday morning rhythm?
Well, one of the things that I think is so important, I think Megan alluded to it, is that we just see people. We get so busy, and, whether it's in the church or wherever, oftentimes we get so task oriented that we're looking at the next thing. And so seeing people is so important. So I always put that in front of everybody who serves on our hospitality team. So whether it's being at the door, and one of the things I love to say is no one opens their own door. That's an incredible way to be hospitable, right? To have people opening doors. there is a saying, or there was something, a study, I think it was, that within the first 10 minutes, somebody enters a place, they know if they're going to return. So what does it look like for us to meet them in the parking lot? What does it look like for us to open the door for them? What does it look like for us to introduce ourselves to them by just saying, hey, I'm Missy. It's so good to see you. Because a lot of people don't feel seen. And right off the bat, now you've created a connection, and it's now personal because I shared my name. And so that's a big deal. When they walk into your church, keeping in mind that maybe they've not been there before. So what does it look like to show them where the restroom is? What does it look like to point out the sanctuary? That's very obvious to us because it's right around the corner, but we're pointing them to it. And what does it look like to tell them, hey, we made some coffee because we want to take you over and show you where the coffee is. What about the parent who walks in the door dragging 3 or 4 kids behind them? They don't know our process to get them checked in, to get them back. What's it look like to have a person assigned to the new face that walks in the door that then walks them through and helps them know exactly what to do? Someone just brought me coffee. Isn't that incredible? But know what to do as they move through the morning. I think that is the thing that's so very important, is that people know that we were expecting them, that we're glad they're there, that we see them, and now we're going to help them navigate this new place that I really maybe didn't want to come to in the first place, because that's the reality of most people, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard it said in a number of different situations where if you take the attitude of expecting people to come to you, you're making them the missionary instead of us being the missionary. Because they're coming into a strange place and having to learn the culture and having to learn. But as you were saying, Missy, if you can meet them at the front door where you're at least like on their level to begin with, it begins this process of simple steps from the door to the pew, which I think are incredible.
And RW, one of the things we know is that when people enter into the church, if they're coming for the first time, if they're on their own, there are some major walls that are there. And so what does it look like to help bring those walls down? Because I always tell my hospitality team, you're the most important person in this place, more important than the person on the platform. Because if those walls are still up, they don't hear a thing God has for them today. But if those walls start to come down, what does that do? It opens up their heart, opens up their ears, ready to hear from the Lord. And so why not?
Yeah. Megan, when it comes to the idea of a team, if there's a magic number, not that there is, but how many volunteers would be necessary to operate a hospitality effort in any given congregation? And what do you think would be the expectation of those volunteers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've had times where we've had a small group of people, like maybe 5 of us, up to, I think, maybe more like 10 at our church. As Missy alluded to, I think just making sure that kind of as they are progressing through the church, that they see that friendly face and they have someone that they can ask a question. So immediately, like when they come in the door, they're not opening the door. We have people that open the doors for our visitors. And then we do have some main areas that we also have some greeters as well. So we have an info center where people can come to if they have questions or they're trying to get information. It's kind of like our hub area. And then we have like our coffee station where somebody hangs out at. And then as they enter the sanctuary doors, we have folks to greet them there. Sometimes there's things that they're passing out, or they're just, saying hello. And as folks are maybe looking for somebody, that they can say, oh yeah, our dub is over here, Missy's over there. And then we have folks like myself that are actually in the sanctuary. And so I think it's really important that kind of figuring out maybe how many different areas that you do have, and ensuring that there are folks there that are there, a warm face, a smiling face, someone that's there to help answer questions. We also, as Missy kind of talked about, have folks that are really there to focus on the new folks that walk in our doors. They really go the extra mile in providing a lot more information and that kind of one-on-one discussion. And so if you RW walk into our church, you're new, our team works really well together of like, oh, RW's new. I need to go and get Megan or Missy or whoever that person is that's the, focused on those new folks. And they know how to direct them to those, we call them our gap folks. And so they'll direct them to those individuals, and they spend time really, talking to them, getting to know them, showing them, like Missy said, where's the bathroom? Here's the coffee. Here's when service starts. Here are the things that we have going on during the week. And so just a couple of different areas where we do have our greeters or our hospitality folks. And so that could look different, I guess, depending on your church and what that looks like. But just generally, I think ensuring that there is at any given, station or room in your church, that there is a place where visitors would go, would have, greeters there. And then I think it's really important too, that the hospitality team, as I mentioned, that they have connections with other people in the church. So if there is someone new, they know what to, who to get connected with. I know too, if there's children that are coming in, maybe we're having problems with our check-in machine. They know who to get a hold of to be like, hey, we need some help. Right. Or, oh, I can't, there's other people coming in my door. I might need some more help. Who do I need to get in touch with there? And so just really being able to have good connections with those people that are more experts, or that's kind of their focus is really important. And then I think in terms of your expectations, it is, opening the door or being, having that, warm, friendly welcome that they're providing. And if they do see somebody that they don't recognize, going up to that person. And we kind of use the phrase, oh, hi, my name is Megan. I don't think we've met before, because it's kind of hard to be like, hey, Missy, I don't think I know you. You're new, aren't you? And then Missy's been coming for 3 weeks and you're like, oh man, I have to backtrack. But just, kind of saying, hey, my name is Megan. I don't think we've connected before, and just kind of going from there. And then, like I said, if the team needs some support, then they know who they can get in touch with, as well as we have a meeting right before our service starts where we talk about the major things that are coming up. So the other thing that we expect from the team is that they either know those things and that they can, say, hey, you have a young kid, we're having VBS, like, just want to let you know about this. If you want some more information, they can get connected or be able to allude to the app. And so I think just being able to be that warm, friendly person, helping open the door, really keeping an eye out for those new folks, and then helping provide information where they can, and just having really good teamwork, I think, as well as another. So Missy, anything that I missed that you would add?
Oh, no, you did a phenomenal job. I'll tell you, it's really about doing the things that you would do if you have someone in your house.
Yeah.
If you have someone in your home, you're going to do a lot of these things. You offer them something to drink. You help them feel welcome. It's just, it all feels very common sense. But when you are in the church and you've been going to a church for so long, you don't always think about it because you get into routine. Yeah. But Megan, no, you did a wonderful job.
In your home. Yeah.
What I was going to say about it's an intentionality of it. It's the whole fact of, listen, we're thinking about different spaces, as you were talking about, Megan, or different, communication of things. I mean, the intentionality of hospitality is important. I love what you just said, Missy, about it's thinking about when you put somebody in your home. I remember a few years ago, our family would host French students. You had to show them how to turn the shower on because they don't know how to do that. It's different than what they're used to. So it's that mindset of, what would it look like if I had somebody fresh in my house? What would I need to do when they walk in the door to make them feel important? You guys have mentioned a lot. So I'm going to skip one of the questions because you guys have kind of answered it already. But Missy, how does hospitality play out within the discipleship pathway?
Well, I kind of mentioned earlier, first of all, people aren't going to come back if they don't feel like they belong, right?
Sure.
If we do not see them, if we do not hear them, if we don't take our time to slow down and give them a little bit of attention, why would they come back? So there's the initial step, into a discipleship, into that flow of making disciples. One of the things that I know a lot of churches are really good at times are welcoming people. But what ends up happening is taking that next step. So for instance, if someone comes in new and I see them and I talk to them, one of the best next steps would be, hey, would you like to go to lunch? Meet me back here next week. And so, or can I call you this week and answer any questions you might have? So what that does now is it bumps them to that next step in getting to know them. I think about the great commandment, and it's love God, love others, right? And so if we spend all of our time focused on God, but we don't see others, we've missed part of the great command, right? And so we have to be intentional, because then now people are starting to connect, because discipleship is relational.
Yeah.
So hospitality is that first step in building relationships. And then you take the next step of getting to know someone and walking with them, maybe having a meal with them. That really cool vulnerability of a meal, again, brings down walls. And now we're starting to talk about our stories, starting to talk about our lives. And tell me that's not discipleship. I mean, that's perfect discipleship. So yeah, it is that it's opening the gate to discipleship. That's what hospitality does.
Friends, if you don't hear anything else today, like, hear that statement that Missy just made. It's the gateway. And like, that hospitality is so important when it comes to new people coming into your church. It's really the make or break thing. So if you don't have a hospitality team, like, it's something to consider putting into practice. Even as Megan said a little bit ago, even if it's just a small couple people that are intentional about seeing those people who are fresh. Awesome. All right, ladies, here's the last question. So what word of challenge would you give to leaders in Ohio when it comes to the whole practice of discipleship and hospitality as they combine together?
Love it.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it kind of went to what you just talked about, Missy. I think not just seeing, I think a hospitality or a greeting team is just somebody to say hi, but it is really starting that process and getting connected with folks. And so, like I said, I've had conversations with people where they've come in and they're like, this is my first time back to church in a long time, and they just want to talk to somebody, or somebody that is looking to, get baptized. And so I think, to your point of how important hospitality is, that there's some questions that are a little bit more like, oh, hey, or conversations that are, just saying hello and welcome. But there are some that are a lot deeper than that, and really go to somebody that is really seeking and looking to kind of take those next steps. And so I really think that sometimes I think people could just think of hospitality as somebody that's saying hello, but it's so much more than that. And it's really helping start that path of discipleship. And I think one of the things that I also really love about our hospitality team as well is, we kind of have those, especially with new folks or folks that are looking to somehow get connected with our church, that we have ways in which they can sign up for that through our hospitality team and then get communication about that. We also used to have folders that would talk about what's happening throughout the week in our church. And so just would, like I said, go back to encourage that hospitality is not just saying hello to somebody or greeting somebody or handing them, something. It's really there to help start that discipleship process as well.
Good.
That's good. That's good. One of the things I was thinking about through this process is me being hospitable to someone else starts with my own discipleship, right?
Yeah.
So as I start to look more and more like Jesus, because I am growing in my relationship, some of that love and some of that care and what I would call realness, not just the Sunday morning church smile, but really seeing people, it comes because I'm starting to look more like Jesus. So we can't forget that we're not just drawing people into a church body or a church family. We are doing this to point people to Jesus. And as we do that, that's discipleship, right? So it starts with me and my personal walk with Jesus. And what happens is out of that flows something very natural and very personal and very real. So don't overlook your hospitality team in helping to disciple them, because that's where you're going to get the best and most hospitable people.
That's good. Yeah. Those are good words of challenge. I really appreciate it. So here's the challenge to you guys, friends. Go incognito to Maiden Lane Church.
Uh-oh. We better be on our best.
We're ready.
Everything Missy and Megan have talked about today is put in practice. I mean, I might even have to shave my beard and mustache just to look different. So I'm sure that would work because, yeah. Anyway.
Maybe you can grow a ponytail, R-Dub.
Oh, that's a flashback, isn't it? Oh, that's fun. If you know, you know, right? Megan, Missy, thank you so much for joining us on the COGO Podcast. Honestly, friends, if you have questions about hospitality further, please reach out to Missy Potts, mpotts@maidenlane.church. You can get in touch with her. She can give you some good tools on where to go. Megan's a great resource. Missy can connect you with that too. But friends, thank you for being a part of this podcast. I appreciate it today.